What's up guys, it's Sixth Man Sports, and the topic of today's video is the top 10 most underrated NBA players. So pretty much how it's going to work is I'm just going to go through my list from number 10 all the way down to number 1 and talk about these guys, why they're underrated, and pretty much just how good they are and why people are not noticing them. And yeah, let's get it started with number 10, starting our list off from the Boston Celtics. Guard/forward, Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown had an all-star type season last year, and some people even wanted him to start the all-star game, and he received his recognition. But as the year went on, and after the all-star game, he went back to underrated like he was at the start of the year. Jalen Brown has shown like he's a great scorer and a phenomenal defender. Before he was great at defense, and he could finish, but other than that, he couldn't score. But now he's shown he can shoot, he can score, and when people think of the Celtics, they think of Jason Tatum and not as much of Jalen Brown. And the thing is, because Jalen Brown also got injured nearing the playoffs, so nobody really got to see him against the playoffs, everybody just thought that it's just Jason Tatum versus the Nets, and no one really got to see how good Jalen Brown was. So yeah, Jalen Brown, number 10 on my top 10 underrated list. Going to number 9, from the Charlotte Hornets, we got Gordon Hayward. Now, Gordon Hayward isn't as good as his days back in Utah when he was an all-star, but he's still a great NBA player, and people just stopped knowing that, or like stopped remembering that just because he got a bunch of injuries when he was on the Celtics. And as soon as he got injuries on the Celtics, people thought he was washed or too old, and he came back to Charlotte, had a good year, but he got a bit injured again nearing the end, and Charlotte, everybody thinks of Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball. So Gordon Hayward he's more of a quiet player, and the thing is, he wasn't noticed as much, but I think he's going to be a big part of Charlotte's future here. And yeah, Gordon Hayward is pretty underrated, like I mentioned. For those reasons, he's just not known much on social media or to the casual fans, and also because he gets injured. At number 8, we have a guy who's a great defender. No one wants to put him on defensive teams. He keeps getting snubbed and stuff. We have Miles Turner of the Indiana Pacers. He's a great shooter, great defender. Like, if you go check his blocks, at one point he was averaging 3 to 4 blocks on the year. So Miles Turner is a great defender. He's also a great scorer because he can attack the rim. He's a great shooter, and he's a potential trade piece for a bunch of teams. A bunch of teams want Miles Turner. So NBA front office and executives know how good Miles Turner is. It's just the casual fans don't. When people think of the Pacers, not many people watch the Pacers. People don't really know about Malcolm Brogdon, who, surprise, is later on the list, Domantas Sabonis, and other players like that. They think of Victor Oladipo and Paul George. And yeah, not many people sadly watch Pacers basketball because that Indianapolis area is really where. Other than that, the Central is Chicago. Everybody likes the Bulls, you know what I mean? So sadly, I love the Pacers. They're not my favorite team, but I love the Pacers. And people should love more Miles Turner, and he should get more credit for his great defense, and he should be on an all-NBA defensive team one of these years. Number 7, one of my favorite players, former Toronto Raptor, former San Antonio Spur, and current Chicago Bull shooting guard, small forward, number 10 or whatever he's going to wear in the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan. I mean, DeMar is a great player, and now he's just improved on his game. Sure, he's not a great shooter, but you don't have to be a great shooter to be a great player. He's a great scorer. His mid-range is great. He's not a great three-point shooter, but he's a good mid-range shooter, and he helps your team win. And the thing not many people notice is his assists are up. He's also a pretty good defender. So a team like the Bulls, he can score, but not only does he have to score. On the Spurs, he was the main scorer. He can give it to Lonzo, who can score a little bit. He can give it to Zach LaVine, who's a crazy good scorer, and Nikola Vucevic, who's a good shooter and a good scorer. So now is when DeRozan's playmaking abilities will actually kick in, and he's going to be actually good on a good team. I like the Bulls. I like what they have going. And DeMar DeRozan is super underrated, and he's a big part of why they're going to be a good team in the East this year. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan, one of my guys, he's pretty good. Number 6, I told you he's going to be on the list, but here he is, Malcolm Brogdon. He's literally had a 50, 40-90 year, and people didn't even care. Like, how hard that is. Like, Kyrie, and I don't even think Kyrie and Steph, I think, are like the only people who've done it other than him. Like, Kyrie did it this year. I'm not sure if Steph's done it, but 50, 40, 90, that's pretty crazy. He's a really good shooter. He's a really good shooter, and people remember him more from his rookie of the year because he was a second-round pick. But now on a team like the Pacers, like I mentioned before, for Miles Turner, he just doesn't get as much recognition and as much love. Malcolm Brogdon is a great player, and yeah, he can shoot, he can score, he can pass. Great player, I like him. Indiana has, like I said, Domantas Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, and Miles Turner were all heavily underrated. Now, Sabonis is not good enough to make the list, in my opinion. Not good enough, not underrated enough, as I should say. Like, not underrated enough to make this list, but he's still a hell of a good player. I love me some Domantas Sabonis, and I love me some Indiana Pacers basketball when things are rolling. But yeah, number 5, a part of the 2021 NBA champion, Jrue Holiday. Number 5 on this list is Jrue Holiday. Great defender. People think he's just a great defender, but if you ask any NBA player, who is the top defender in the league, no doubt about it, they're gonna say, my guy, Jrue Holiday. His steal that game, and then that alley-oop up to Giannis was crazy good. That alley-oop is the reason they won the game and potentially even won the series. So he's super underrated. Great defender. He can shoot a little bit. Not the best efficiency at times, but a great overall player. Jrue Holiday coming in at number 5. At number 4, also a part of your Chicago Bulls 2021 roster, point guard Lonzo Ball. People don't realize how good Lonzo is. People think Lonzo is a bad shooter. He's a great defender, great leader, great playmaker, great scorer, and he can shoot. He's shooting high 30s, low 40s from 3-point range. He doesn't have a whack jumper. His jumper has evolved a lot. Like, credit to my guy Lonzo. His jumper has evolved a lot. And then, like I said, great playmaker, like how he did stuff with Zion. He's going to look for his teammates. And then great defender. He's going to clamp a point guard. And then, like I said, a great vocal leader on the team. That can't be measured in stats, but that can be measured inside the locker room. Number 3, we're going into our top 3 here. From the Houston Rockets, we got Christian Wood. Christian Wood was really good to start the season last year, and people were saying maybe he should be an all-star, and he was really good. But then he got injured, and then people forgot how good Christian Wood was. And then they traded away James Harden, and then John Wall was there just doing everything kind of. John Wall wasn't the best for them. But yeah, Christian Wood is going to be really good. And now that they have Jalen Green, people also forget how good Christian Wood is. So, yeah, Christian Wood, great player, pretty good shooter, great story, great come up, and yeah, I like me some Christian Wood. He's going to be good with Jalen Green and the young Rockets team, who won't be good now, but he's going to be really good in a couple of years. Heading into our number 2 spot, our last 2 players. Comment down below who you guys think these players will be. We got Norman Powell of the Portland Trailblazers. He signed a 5-year extension to stay in Portland after getting traded by the Raptors last year for Gary Trent. But anyways, Norman Powell, great scorer. He's just not known as a great scorer when you have Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum on your team. But yeah, he's also a pretty good defender, and he's a bit short. He's like a shooting guard small forward that's 6'3", but he's a great scorer, and he's a crazy good athleticism in vertical. He's a great player. Norman Powell, I really like him. He can make an impact, and on a good night when everything's going, he'll give you some 25-30, and he's just overshadowed right now by Dame, all the Dame stuff going on for the Trailblazers, and CJ McCollum. So Norman Powell's going to be in Portland for a while, and he's going to be good and a great scorer. I like Norman Powell. He has a great impact on your team, and he's, yeah, Norman Powell, number 2. And number 1 on our top 10 most underrated NBA players, we have the swiper, De'Aaron Fox, coming in at number 1. People don't realize how good De'Aaron Fox is. Maybe it's because he's on Sacramento, who is one of the most smallest markets in the NBA. Great player. He's a great facilitator, great scorer, can shoot, can finish. And Sacramento, him and Tyrese Halliburton, and now Davion Mitchell, they have a good young trio of guards there who are all good at like defense, playmaking, and who can score. So I like those three guys right there. But De'Aaron Fox, my personal number one. People think De'Aaron Fox sucks, but he's really, really good. You need to realize, and he's like the fastest player in the league, really good defender. De'Aaron Fox is super underrated, and it's because he's on Sacramento, which is the same thing I said for Indiana. And I'm not hurting you guys if you're a fan of the Pacers or the Kings. It's just those teams don't get washed as often as like a Lakers guy, you know what I mean? Like, or like a Trailblazers, same thing as the Pacers. So, wow. That's it. Yeah, that's my list. You guys can go back and see, but let me just read the list to you guys. Number 10, Jalen Brown. Number 9, Gordon Hayward. Number 8, Miles Turner. Number 7, DeMar DeRozan. Number 6, Malcolm Brogdon. Number 5, Drew Holiday. Number 4, Lonzo Ball. Number 3, Christian Wood. Number 2, Norman Powell. And number 1, De'Aaron Fox. That's it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys comment, like, all of that down below, and subscribe here. We have another couple bangers dropping this week. I know we took a couple weeks of break, but we have a couple more bangers dropping. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.